Was that I don't actually have a passport. I just have an ID and a birth certificate. So I applied for the passport, but I didn't get it. But we were still going through the ready lanes because my wife has a...
What's a ready lane?
The ready lane is where you can go through and it says you're ready, like you have all your paperwork. So me showing up there without my paperwork should be a problem, but for the most part they don't care. And some of them do. And one day we go through and this guy, he gives me no end of trouble about it. He says, "Where's your passport? Why do you have this? Why are you coming through this lane?" And I explained to him, I didn't know, sorry. And I actually told him that I was going that day to get the passport. He says, "Okay, you can go through, but I don't want to see you through here again." And we drove off kind of, chuckling a little bit because you don't see these guys ever again. You see them one time, maybe twice in a year. So we go, and about a week later, we're coming through the line, and oh my God, it's the same guy. So he says, "I thought you said you're going to get your passport." "Well, but, you lied to me, and don't I?" He says, "I know you're lying to me. You know you're lying to me," and he just gives me no end of trouble again. But I told him, "Oh, this happened, that happened, but I'm going today to get my passport." So he says, "Okay, go through." And we really thought that was the end of it. And I kid you not a week later we come through and there he is a third time. And this time he wasn't as amused. And he's just basically saying, "You get your passport, don't you ever come through this line again," and just yelling at us. But he finally let us through.
The common knowledge is that you don't have a passport, you're not going to get through, but that's not true.
No, it's not true. You're an American citizen. They have to let you through. It's just how much trouble they're going to give you to get through. So they can't deny you entry, but they can make it, several hours of ordeal to go through to get in. But to be honest with you, the amount of ordeal they give you is the amount of ordeal they give themselves. So do they want to screw around with you for the next 3 hours? And most of them honestly don't. And, you come up on their computer, they know you're a U.S. citizen, and they just want you to do the things that you're supposed to do, get the passport card and all that. But if you don't have it, what can they do?
So every time you cross, it goes in their computer, so they know how many times you've crossed?
Yes.
They know how many times you cross into Mexico as well, which is part of what you have to consider. When you go down there, if you drive down to Mexico and you pick up your load and you turn around and come back, 20 minutes later, that's actually going to be a big red flag. Because they're going to say, "How did you go shopping in 20 minutes? Because that's what you tell them is you went to the Hidalgo market and you went shopping. So you have to go down and you have to spend about an hour or so. Enough time so it's reasonable.
I've had that problem myself, and where I crossed over and they said you were just in Mexico for 30 minutes. How did you get all these groceries in 30 minutes? And I'm a little quick, and I said, "Well, actually, I went and I picked up these groceries at my mom's house. They were already there. I just had to pick them up, put them in my car, and come back for the party." And that's basically how that works sometimes.
So if you're not typically a liar, you actually have to become a bit of a liar because you have to be quick. You can't stutter and you can't say and make it up on the spot because that's going to get you put in the secondary.
So you were put in handcuffs at one point?
Yeah, we bought a truck. Our car had gotten crashed, had gotten wrecked, and we bought this old truck that we were using, and we went through once or twice with it with no problem, but we went through this one day and there was this dog, this police dog that alerted on the back of the truck, and I mean like cartoon style, stiff neck, stiff tail, and he was acting as if all the drugs were in the truck. And so they sort of just casually walk away and looking around, whistling like nothing's going on, but I'm watching them, I'm thinking, "Oh, this is not good." And then we could see through the gates about 6 more Border Patrol agents come walking up, and they're all just casually looking around, casually. And all of a sudden, they descend on the truck. And one of them sticks his head inside my window, and one sticks his head inside her window, and they say, "Turn off the ignition, open up the door, and step out slowly." And we stepped out, and they put us in handcuffs and walked us all the way, the walk of humiliation through the perp walk, I guess, all the ways to the border and into secondary and put us in the little jail. And we sat there for about an hour and a half, I think.
Yes.
And you can hear them outside wrenching and beating and banging on the truck. And about an hour and a half later, they just walked in and said, "Here are your keys, you're free to go." But
they had looked through all of the food. They had looked through everything in the car. They had put the car through X-ray, all of that stuff. They didn't find anything, and they let us go an hour and a half later.
Bypassing the 60 pounds of cheese that we had in there.
Right.
So it was kind of ironic that they're going over it with a fine-tooth comb to find the drugs, but they missed the
they did it. They just didn't care about it.
They didn't care. It wasn't what they they thought they had the big score.
They thought they had drugs.
They didn't want to go back at the end of the day and say, "Yeah, I busted a couple of knuckleheads with some cheese today," and the other guy's like, "Yeah, well, I got 60 kilos of cocaine." It just doesn't register for those folks.